jobs many of us will ever have. And as a parent, all we want to do with our children is to keep them safe and happy and healthy. So can you imagine if you're in a doctor's office and you're being told that your child has a life-threatening brain or spinal cord tumour? Parents tell us it's like the oxygen is sucked out of the room and they can't breathe. They were everyday mums and dads who had hopes and dreams like all parents, parents like you and I. But it's all changed. Some of these young people will move on and have surgery, radiotherapy and chemotherapy. All of these treatments have side effects in the pursuit of a cure. Side effects that are added on to the pressure that these tumours have caused as they were growing in developing brains. Brain cancer treatment is intense. It takes months. It impacts on a family so much that there are dislocation and isolation. As one parent will become the primary carer, the other parent strives to maintain a wage. Regional families suffer the tyranny of distance as they try and bring their families together, but also have to face up to transport costs and accommodation costs. Brain tumours, and it's such a grim thing we talk about tonight, I'm sorry, but brain tumours are one of the most fatal solid tumours of young people and adolescents. In Queensland, we may only have 60 new children each year who are diagnosed with a brain or spinal cord tumour. But their survival will depend very much on the tumour type and the tumour location. There are times that a brain tumour may be in such a position that you cannot offer curable treatment for these beautiful young children. I've had the honour of meeting many of these families and the children. I've seen the sacrifices they've made to be with their children. I've seen their courage in the face of physical and mental challenges. I've seen their despair when it was all just going too hard, and I've seen their joy when their child was able to achieve the smallest of achievements. As we move forward and we are coming out of the treatment, it is a time of celebration. But sadly for these young people, it is also a time when they recognise that their life has changed forever. Recovering children will strive to fit back in with their peers. There are times that they will have sight or hearing loss. There are times that they lack confidence, they're anxious, and cruelly with all of this, the learning and remembering of this new knowledge is much more difficult, and there is a widening of the IQ gap. As I have seen these young people move and grow, I realise that it's not just these children, but it is actually it's the acquired brain injury that these young people have as well. Because remember I told you that they had pressure on their brains way back when they had their initial diagnosis. But now that pressure has the ability to have caused that acquired brain injury, and they are struggling in their lifelong, they are struggling to remember things, they are struggling to be socially acceptable, they're struggling to just make life their own. This is it's like a double whammy, isn't it? But tonight, I want to say that we have a solution and we have a plan. BrainChild Foundation began in 2010. I had this beautiful neurosurgeon who came to me, and as a nurse, I worked with him. He said to me, "Ronnie, we must do something for these children." And as a nurse, and Ronnie can tell you, you always say yes to the doctor. And Martin is here tonight, and it's 11 years later, and we're still working for these young people. So our plan is, there's a combination of plans. One, BrainChild Foundation raises money to help. with support paediatric research for tomorrow. But we also raise money for grassroots support for the children of brain and spinal cord tumours today. We call it the Better Tomorrows program. And in doing that, we are raising money to help children now to grow. We are also understanding that the support is not always there from government funding. We have children who are from 0 to 24, little ones, to 24 years of age. The diagnosis for eligibility is just basically brain or spinal cord tumour. We get our referrals from hospitals, from rehabilitation teams and from parents. And the program is really, it's basically funding and services that are strategically demonstrated to close the gap. How do we do it? We offer therapy sessions with physiotherapy, occupational therapy, speech pathology, psychological counselling, remember that anxiety, and also tuition. We know that if we strengthen these young kids both mentally and physically, and then add one-to-one tuition, it will optimise their outcome. We had one young lady, and I was talking to Martin just a little bit earlier, and she had brain surgery, and her memory was so affected by it, her short-term memory, that with her tuition package, we gave her an iPad, and that iPad was to take photos of her homework. It was also to take photos of where she'd been and who she'd been with. That memory loss was so severe. To us, that was a small thing to do, but to her, it was huge. And over time, and with more support, that young lady became the school captain of her college and is now following a nursing career. All of us here in this room tonight have the ability to make a difference to these young people who are facing these dilemmas. If we raise $75, that will allow 1 hour of tuition one-to-one with a qualified teacher. I'm starting small, you can see. If we raise $150, that will cover the gap of speech therapists. If we raise $3,000, that will allow one young man or one young woman to have tuition for a whole year or 20 therapy sessions. If we raise $15,000, that will allow 5 more young people to come onto our program and have that support. But I'm going high here. If we raise $100,000, that will allow every young person who is diagnosed in Queensland in 1 year with a brain or spinal cord tumour to have our support. Brain and spinal cord tumours are savage. The battle to overcome them takes an enormous toll and requires all the strength and fortitude that the young people and the families who love them can muster. At the end of that treatment, there may be a widening IQ gap in their wake. But here, tonight, all of us can step up and provide the support for these young people that will help them physically, mentally, and financially to achieve the better tomorrows that they really want. Thank you.